This is one of the most affordable EVs you can buy today on the European market. This is the Hyundai Inster. And you're watching It's Only Electric. It's time for a full review. This is a compact car, probably the smallest one I have ever tested, measuring 3.8 meters in total length with a wheelbase of 2.6. So a long wheelbase for such a small car, and that shows when looking at the interior. But we're gonna check that soon. It weighs 1,370 kilograms, so it's also fairly lightweight for being electric. It is not the fastest car in the world, but that's not the purpose. It's front-wheel drive with a permanent magnet motor placed at the front axle, delivering 115 horsepower or 85 kilowatts, 147 Newton meters of torque. The sprint from 0 to 100 takes 10.6 seconds with a top speed of 150 kilometers per hour. So the Inster comes with two different battery sizes. This is the advanced version, the highest trim level. If you don't go for the cross version, that's even higher, but the same battery pack. The gross capacity is 49 kilowatt hours. The net capacity is 46. The standard range battery, the smaller battery, has a gross capacity of 42 and a net capacity of 39. Also a NMC pack. When it comes to charging, the charge port is placed here at the front, and with a DC capacity of 85 kilowatt hours. That's for the bigger battery pack. I think the smaller has 72, and 10 to 80% should take 30 minutes according to the specified time from Hyundai. AC charging, home charging, 3-phase support, 10.5 kilowatts, not 11. The range of the big battery pack is 370 kilometers of certified WLTP range. When it comes to the looks, let me start with the color. It's called Tomboy Green. It's a nice looking green color. Maybe not my favorite, but I think it suits the car, especially with this black details. I think this black piano finish is also part of the advanced trim, so that's extra. This is only hazard and signaling lights. There's no daylight running lights here. The daylight running lights is actually placed in the ring here around the headlight unit. And this marking here is for showing that there is a radar behind this, because it has the advanced drive package. And this closed grille is active, so it opens up when it needs fresh air. Otherwise, I think the front is probably the best looking part of this car. And by the way, underneath here, there is no frank. So Hyundai is really not thinking of a symmetric design when it comes to the electric lineup. All the cars looks very different. I mean, if you didn't know, you wouldn't tell that it was the same brand. It's very hard to see that. But one thing that really goes through the whole lineup, I mean, both the Ioniq 5, the Ioniq 6, the upcoming Ioniq 9, and this Inster, is the pixel design. I mean, all these small squares, as you see here at the back, they are everywhere. They are at the sides, in the front, in the interior even. So everywhere there's small squares, the pixelated design. That's the signum for Hyundai's electric cars, not the design in general. They try to keep them very separated from each other. First off, a small spoiler at the top. This is the brake light, and this is the washer fluid muzzle on top of the windshield wiper. And integrated in the windshield wiper, there is a backup camera. Underneath that, this black bar, phantom bar, connects the two taillights as a whole plastic cover with this pixelated design. I don't know if you see, it's lit up now, but it's too light outside, but it's actually red. The big Insta logo, and here underneath it hides the button for opening the trunk. It's a manual trunk, by the way. And this is also backup lights and reflectors, white backup lights, and not that much more to say here at the rear. Let's check out the practical things. And this is where it gets exciting. I mean, they have worked so much on the practical aspects of this car. Let's check it out. So the boot space, very small this way, goes from 240 liters up to 350, depending on how you use it. So this one is removable, the parcel shelf, and it actually adapts depending on how you have placed your seats, the second row. But currently it's the smallest version of it, so 240 liters. You have some extra boot capacity underneath here, actually a lot. There is a double floor, and at the bottom you can store maybe a cable, but it's more like utilities, this kind of stuff, and a tire repair kit. But possible to stow away a lot of things here underneath. And if you remove this one, I think it gets a bit easier to see how it behaves and how it looks. Let's put it here on the side. This is kind of skid plates to keep the boot clean and not any gaps when you fold the seats. So you can actually fold them from here, but not only fold them, you can also adjust the angle. So if you have two rear passengers that's still tall, like me, you can just adjust the angle. You will get like 20 liters extra boot capacity. If you want even more boot capacity, you can actually put the seats forward 15 centimeters. So you have a sliding possibility of 15 centimeters for both seats. And they're split into 50-50. And when you fold them, it folds totally flat on both sides. So this is where things get exciting. I mean, this is really practical for such a small car, and the capability of sliding the back seat and sliding both sides individually really gives you a lot of opportunities. On top of that, you can also fold the front seats. They also get in the same level as the rear side here. That means that you can put in a big bed and sleep in the car if you want to do that. But even better than that, if you only fold the right side, you can really carry a lot of cargo. A surfing board, for instance, is no problem. You just fold the front seat and put it on a surfboard. That's really amazing. You get a lot of opportunities, a lot of flexibility with the interior space here. We're gonna check out the interior, and by the way, there is no possibility to add a towage to the car, but fortunately it comes with rails, really solid rails with a carry capacity of 75 kilograms, which means that you can use it for camping with a tent on top or a ski box when going for a ski vacation. To one of the most exciting parts of the Inster, and this is really amazing, it's like sorcery. Okay, door sound, I mean, it's not necessary to test the door sound of this car in this price class, but I do that anyway. Framed doors, solid build, no rattling, nothing strange. The seal seems to be good. There is no double pane windows here. But to the amazing part here is the legroom. Let me give you some more light. As you see, my knees are not touching. And I'm 193 centimeters tall, or 6'4". And I can sit with comfort behind myself because the passenger seat is adjusted after my sitting position, and I have space left to move it forward even more without sacrificing my driving experience that much. But this is my optimal driving position. But as you see, not touching the knees, and I can squeeze my feet underneath the front seat, so no problem at all. And the thigh support is not that bad actually for being such a small car. It's like other EVs. And headrest cushioned and adjustable height-wise. And when I stretch out, as you see, I have 4 fingers of headroom left before touching the headliner. And you can also adjust the backrest angle. So if I do it, set it to the most straight position, this is the one, this is like 90 degrees No one sits like this, but if you need some extra cargo space, this is a good way to add that, because I can still travel this way. Maybe not for hours, but for shorter trips, no problem at all. I can even pull this forward a bit and sit like a monkey, like this, and gain a lot of cargo space, but probably not that low. Let me move that backwards again. This is the most backward position now, and the most reclined position of the seat. It goes really backwards, and this is probably the most reclined seat I have ever traveled in. And this is the smallest car I've reviewed ever. So the smallest car actually has one of the best back seats. Isn't that strange? Where does all the space come from? Let me move that back. Okay, this is good. Maybe a bit more straight. So, I'm back, guys. And the materials, I mean, I'm not going to go into the details about the materials. I mean, it's hard plastics, and it's expected in this price class. I'm not gonna whine about hard plastics, because hard plastics is a good way of keeping the price low, and also the environmental impact lower. So in this case, it's good. It's really good. The only thing I can complain about here at the back seat is the armrests. These things could also have been another cost saver. I mean, it's panels, you can change the design of it. No one is going to do that. And this is a screw looking design. You can unscrew it, or you can fasten things like Polaroid photos. Yeah, I said Polaroid photos. And I know no one is going to do that. So this is just a design gimmick, as the color is also called Tomboy Green. So they are really trying to approach to a younger, more hipster generation. I'm not sure that that's the buyer for this one. I'm not sure that these kind of things is necessary, but I get that it makes the car a bit more fun. I get that, and that's fine. The rear bench as such is flat, but still supportive, and I actually like the fabrics. It's a nice touch to the fabrics. It's kind of a fishbone pattern on it. And as I said, the pixel design, the pixel graphics, also represented here at the back. There is no ventilation here, there's no air vents, but there is one USB-C port hidden here. Can be a bit hard to find, but the good thing is that it is lit up, so you will see it during nighttime. So it's time for the front. Immediately you feel that this is a compact car, because it's such a narrow car. It's 1.6 meters. And you feel that when you look at the legroom, knee room, and your shoulders. I mean, my shoulder is touching the B-pillar all the time. Doesn't bother me that much. You get used to it. You also feel the narrowness by feeling how easy it like wobbles when you move around in the car, because it's not as heavy as other cars I'm used to, and it's narrow, as I just said. And another thing that immediately strikes me here at front is that it is sharing some components from its siblings, the bigger and more expensive cars from Hyundai, and that's the steering wheel, all the stalks, and the self-driving system, the ADAS system. And that's a very good thing. I mean, when looking at the steering wheel, you clearly see that, okay, this is not a steering wheel of one of the cheapest cars available when going electric. It is really not, because this is really a great steering wheel, and you have all the functions on it. You even have a drive mode selector for toggling between the drive modes. You have all the self-driving capabilities to the left, and to the right you have everything concerning media, even a shortcut and a real wheel for adjusting the volume, muting it, and toggling the music. Also a dedicated button for voice commands. And you can control everything from the steering wheel. In front of the steering wheel you have two paddles, also very premium for such a cheap car, and that's the regenerative braking adjustment. So to the right you decrease the regen, and you can set it to automatic. To the left, you increase the regen, and finally you can activate I-pedal as the last step. I-pedal is the one pedal driving. And yes, this car still has one pedal driving. That's really good. On top of the steering wheel, it is a monitor, a IR camera for monitoring the driver, drowsiness monitor, etc. And two premium stocks. The one to the left, of course, light adjustments. To the right, the windshield wipers. It has two screens, one digital instrument cluster of 10.25 inch and another central media screen, same size, but with touch and swipe functionality. It's running the same operating system as the other cars in the lineup. I'm really getting used to it, so I like it now. I think the threshold for learning it, the learning curve, is a bit steep at the beginning, but when you get to know it, I mean, you have a lot of functions, it works good, it's not too slow, doesn't seem to have that many bugs, and you have a lot of features. You see that this one, of course, has less features than if you have a look in the more premium models, for instance, when it comes to battery care, etc. But you have what you need. What you miss, though, in the operating system is support for wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can activate Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with a USB cable. You connect it to this port here and down to your phone. My phone is currently placed in a Qi charger, very convenient place of that one. Underneath that there is a pocket, and one thing that I didn't mention is that it supports vehicle to load. The interior outlet here supports 3.6 kilowatts of total output, 16 amps, 220 volts. There is an adapter you can connect to the charge port and get a normal Chucky outlet to also use vehicle to load. That's really practical, and that's also amazing to squeeze into such a small car with a small battery pack for a small price. Above that Qi charger, we have more or less a traditional control panel, what we are used to see before the evolution of electric vehicles. A lot of hardware buttons. Starting from the bottom this time, we have a auto hold activation, deactivation. You can activate the parking view, the rear park camera, and the chimes for the parking sensors. Seat heating here at the front in two levels, both positions. And the upper part, this is the climate adjustment. So you have the temperature adjustment. There is only one climate zone for the whole cabin. So adjust the temperature from here. Auto, off, AC, the regular buttons. You can control everything from here. No need whatsoever to use the operating system or the screen for adjusting anything concerning climate. You have everything collected here. And I think that's a good thing for a lot of you, because I know that people complain about too much touch buttons or too much operations put into the screens. The top part here is the media controls. So you have the volume knob here to the left and shortcuts to the maps, navigation, that's shortcuts to point of interest, etc. Customizable star here as on top of the steering wheel. You can separately customize these to your favorite function. This is radio controls, 6-track radio. You can toggle between the different medias and a shortcut to the settings. Manual air ventilations, hazard lights is placed here. Something I forgot is that in between here there is actually built-in ambient lighting, and inside of that part, as you saw the USB-A port, a 12 volt 800 watt outlet, and a USB-C port, and some storage, and a traditional glove box, and a dashboard. I mean, I'm not going to go into the details of the materials. I mean, everything is hard plastic. Everything is hard plastic, besides, as in the back, the sides of the armrests. As in the back, I'm a bit disappointed for them to put cushioning here, but not on top, because this really hurts. For real now. I mean, but nevertheless, I think it's a great interior. And as you see here, 2 fists of headroom. I mean, the last time I had 2 fists of headroom was probably in one of the bigger SUVs like G580, the Geländewagen. I mean, this had the same amount of headroom as bigger SUVs. So the final thing before we take the car for a drive is the sound system. This really shocked me too, because the advanced version, as I said, is the full spec version. So it comes with all the equipment, the self-driving functionalities, the black piano finish on the exterior, some adjustments on the interior, the sliding back seat, and the premium sound system. It's so good for being such a small car. Even if it just consists of 6 speakers, so tweeters here at the top, subwoofers or bass speakers at the lower parts of the frontal doors, and 2 mid speakers at the rear doors. That's all. But it plays really good. It plays really warm, it plays fairly high, and it doesn't rattle. It's solid, and it's really engaging to listen to music in this car. And it's way above what I was hoping for this price class. So enough of talking, let's take it for a drive. Finally driving the Inster, and let us start with that beeping sound. That's the speed limit warning, the audible speed limit warning. There is a very convenient way of turning that off. You just long press for 2 seconds the volume scroll wheel, and then it turns that noise off. Done. Speed limit warning sound is off. Gives us a nice message on top of the screen. There is another beep though. Oh, before we continue with the beep, it handles bumps impressively good. The suspension is, let me see. Okay, so small potholes is a bit tougher to handle. Does sound a little bit, makes some miss sounds and gets a bit stressed. But when it comes to handling and body roll, it is not uber soft. It's comfortable, but still with a good support. I mean, it doesn't feel too wobbly, especially in this way. It doesn't nod too much when you accelerate, when you brake. So I actually like the suspension, despite being a traditional steel coil with dampers. I think they have done a good job. It feels a lot better than cars like the Peugeot E3008, for instance. This one has a better suspension, if you ask me, and I think in most aspects actually. And that's impressive for a car that costs almost half the price of the higher trim levels of that car. And I know that car is like 800 kilograms heavier than this one, so it's harder to do a suspension for a heavier car. Let me push it here and see. So now it's understeers when you press it a bit. And as you see, I'm smiling because this is an inspiring car to drive. I mean, it only has 115 horsepower, but it actually feels more. It feels a lot lighter, drives lighter. It's actually inspiring to drive. I wasn't expecting that for this car and this price class and this size with this small amount of power on the front wheels. This car, it is probably a fun car to drive on twisty roads. Nice weather like this. There's A couple of drive modes. We have a dedicated drive mode selector since it has the premium steering wheel from the bigger siblings. First one, Eco, Normal, Sport, and Snow. And to be honest, I don't feel that much of a difference between Eco and Normal. I think it utilizes all the power, but it builds up it slower than compared to the Sport mode. So when it comes to the drive modes, the only thing you can customize on the screen in the menu system is the climate control, and that's only available in drive mode Eco. So you can set the climate control to Eco or Normal. And in Eco, it of course limits the power on the climate control and saves some energy whilst driving. Other than that, the drive modes act fairly similar because there is no driving dynamics changing, since it has a fixed suspension and the steering wheel doesn't seem to get stiffer either. It feels like the same. Yeah, but the thing is, when it comes to acceleration, Eco, it is not that aggressive at the beginning when flooring it. Normal acts the same way, builds up the power a bit more gentle, and Sport. Yeah, so that's where we have the actual difference. The accelerator gets a bit more sensitive and a bit more responsive, which means that you get more power in a short amount of time. So you get a bit more wobbly when you accelerate. Losing some grip. It's surprisingly fun to drive. We have another thing to have a look at, and that's the regenerative braking. We have the paddles in front of the steering wheel that I just mentioned. If you start at the lowest level of recuperation, it's called coasting. So now I let go of the accelerator and it coasts. If I long press that, it goes into auto, and that means that it adds automatic recuperation. So it's kind of a smart recuperation setting. So depending on the traffic situation, if it's empty in front of you as it is here, it applies no regen. It coasts as in the lowest regen level. If I have a car in front of me, it adds recuperation depending on the distance. The closer you come to the object in front of you, the more it increases the recuperation. So the next level of recuperation, need to turn off the auto first. First level, it's a lot. It's a small amount of regen. It doesn't come to a full stop. Mid-level, that is a fair amount of regen actually. Yeah, it applies a fair amount of regen. It's almost as much regen as in my ID3 on maximum regen. The highest level of regen, but still not one pedal driving. Oh, that's aggressive. It is aggressive, but it doesn't come to a full stop. It continues rolling in around 8 kilometers per hour, 9 kilometers per hour. Yeah, 8, and never comes to a full stop. And now the last mode to the left is the I-pedal driving, and that's the one pedal driving, which means that you almost never need to use the friction brakes with your right foot. If you drive the right way and plan ahead, you'll probably save a lot of effort in your right foot. So if I let go of the accelerator here and now, it immediately in a linear way comes to full stop. And very smooth, very smooth. I don't even feel the appliance of the brakes, the friction brakes. Just so smoothly handled by the software. I don't hear the brakes, I don't feel it. And at that point, it was even leaning a bit backwards for the car, so it was backward sloping. By far one of the most sophisticated recuperation settings and implementations I have ever tried. And that goes for all Hyundais and Kias. I have talked about that before, but what surprises me, and that's so good with this car, is that they put in a lot of the technology from the expensive cars into this one for a smaller price. Like I said, the steering wheel, the recuperation, the sound system, and especially things like the ADAS system, the driver aid systems, because it's also taking straight from its more expensive siblings. So you have all the bells and whistles, and you control that from the left side of the steering wheel. It's very impressive because it has like the lane keep assist, the speed assist, so it keeps you in the lane, it drives for you, it's perfectly fine on highways. It's a very sophisticated system, and for this price class it's amazing to have all these things in the car. Vehicle to grid or vehicle to load, that's another thing that's like not that common on cheap cars. And this is things that can be a lot worse on cars that easily cost the double. And that's also why I recommend you to go for the highest trim level, because you get so much for that money. You get so much equipment, so much technology. So it's worth that extra, whether it's 5,000 euros or 50,000 Swedish crowns. And when it comes to comfort in terms of noise, cabin noise, it is really not a noisy car. I mean, I would expect a car in this size class to be less insulated and a bit more noisy, but it isn't. It isn't. It feels fairly silent actually, and I wouldn't be surprised if it scores close to more expensive cars, bigger cars. The doors, it doesn't have any double pane windows, but it still is a silent car. So it's time for me to summarize my experience, my view of the Hyundai Inster. I have had it for a couple of days. The sun is shining, so I'm actually going to do this differently this time. I'm detaching the camera and I'm gonna walk out and do this together with the camera, you guys, but outside. Let me straighten up the camera. This has been really strange for me. I was really not expecting this. I was having a hard time. I was thinking like, okay, I don't like small cars and I don't like too much plastic. I mean, the exterior looks is still not my cup of tea, but I think it does it a bit different than others do. And that's always good to see. But still, what makes me love this car is actually the amount of equipment, like the ADAS system, the sound system, the screens. The equipment in general is really impressive. It is so much you get for the amount of money you actually put into it. And that's that was not expected. And if you combine that with such a small car, but with such a big flexibility, like the back seat, it's so impressive. It is so impressive, so flexible, and it's bigger than most cars I've ever tried out. I mean, when I put the back seat in the most backward position and give it some space with the front seats, it's actually bigger than the back seat of my Model Y. The headroom is great, the legroom, the comfort is okay, and the flexibility it gives you with the loading capabilities, the boot capabilities, together with those seats, and that you can fold the front seat too. It's really easy to use this car for a lot of things. I'm really excited because I did feel similar when I got my first Renault Zoe. And that sound, by the way, I didn't know that, but there's a shooting range here close by. It is not wars, it is just a shooting range. Sorry for that. But I got the same feeling back in 2018 when I got my Renault Zoe. That car at that time was actually amazing and did a really good job being a EV that was cheap back in those days, and it was expensive because you still needed to lease the battery pack, but it was the best alternative back then if you wanted a cheap car. Now, this car is probably your best bet if you want to go electric for your first time, if you have a limited budget, or if you just want a second small car at your home. I mean, this may be a very, very good and sharp alternative. And it really changes the car market because it's not only cheap, it also brings all this to the table. So what is your view on the Hyundai Inster? Do you think this is your best bet? Is this a car you're thinking of buying? Let me know in the comments below. Share your thoughts. Let us have a discussion about the Inster. And most importantly, give it a thumbs up, spread it to your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel. This is the things that's really helping us to grow the channel and to stay independent. Very, very important. Stay electric. Thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.